Hey loves! Welcome back to my channel. This is Sassy Love Tarot. In today's reading, we are asking Spirit for definitive answers to any yes or no questions that you might have. So the way this is going to work is that you will be choosing from one of the 5 options laid out below right here based on which one or ones that you feel drawn to the most when you are focusing on the question that you have. So it is possible that Spirit might have messages for you in different piles, or you could also ask different yes or no questions and then pick corresponding piles to those questions. If that sounds good to you, then I will be introducing your options to you. Option number 1 here corresponds to the King card along with this piece of shell right here. Option number 2 here corresponds to the Shapeshifter card along with this piece of shell right here. Option number 3 here, it corresponds to the Kiss card along with this piece of shell right here. Option number 4 here corresponds to the Destroyer card along with this piece of shell right here. And finally, option number 5 corresponds to the Shaman card right here, along with this piece of shell right here. So take all the time you need to pick. Once you picked your pile or piles, you can find the corresponding timestamps down in the description box. Click on the timestamp and you'll be fast forwarded to your reading. Hey loves! If you have chosen this King card along with this piece of shell right here, then this is going to be your reading on any yes or no questions that you might have in mind. Welcome! So the way I am going to do this reading is that I am going to start off pulling 3 different tarot cards to get an answer from Spirit and see whether it's a yes or a no to the question that you might have in mind. So now, as I'm shuffling, please feel free to take a deep breath, focus on the question that you have in mind, and now let's ask Spirit for the answer. So the first card you got is Charm, Apprentice of Raindrops. In this deck, this is the Knight of Cups upright. And the second card you have is the World Ascension. And the third card you got is the 3 of Lightning, which in this deck corresponds to the 3 of Wands. And it says here the Journey, which came out in the reverse position. Okay, so I want to say that I'm feeling a very strong yes energy to whatever question you might have in this case, and I'm going to explain why I feel like that's the case. So first off, the card that you felt the most drawn to was the King with the number 12 right here. It is interesting how the King reminds me of the Emperor card, which corresponds to number 4 in tarot, and that also symbolizes very strong initiation, Aries energy. So when I saw the King card, I feel like this might be indicative of you taking a leadership role to really step up on whatever you are trying to do, whether that's career or studies, or perhaps starting off your own business, or going after someone that you feel really, really drawn to in a romantic sense. And interestingly, we have the number 12 here, and number 12 actually corresponds to the Hanged Man card within tarot. And that is Pisces energy, and that's also ruled by the planet of Jupiter, which symbolizes expansion. So for some reason, I'm just really feeling called to mention Aries and Jupiter. So those might be important placements or signs for you in case you need any additional confirmation. And also Jupiter is also the ruler of Sagittarius, so that might be an important sign for you as well. And with the color scheme going on here, we have a lot of red, orange, and yellow. These colors do remind me of the lower chakras, and also, again, that initiation, creation, and just really taking the lead sort of energy with this king. So I don't want to speculate too much on the question that you have in mind, but I do get a really, really positive and almost exciting feeling as I start off with your reading. Also, when I was shuffling all three of these cards, they came out really, really fast. Um, and I just feel like usually I would take that as a really good sign if I were asking a yes or no question to spirit, because usually this indicates very smooth flow of energy and very fast, quick like pace of change, and usually that brings positive changes to your life as well. So as I said, I feel like this is a very strong yes. And when I set the intention for this reading, I wanted to pull three cards as indicators of a yes or a no. And as we have seen, we've got two out of the three coming up as upright. So I feel like that's like a very strong yes, and it's like a very affirmative energy. And then also just looking at the cards that you actually got here, the first one that came out was Knight of Water or Knight of Cups with charm here. So I feel like you might identify with this Knight of Cups energy because, again, like as a king, you are the leader of the group. You are the alpha, quote unquote, of the pack. However, you want to define that, it's up to you. But this is like very charming kind of leadership sort of energy. So I do feel like this could be a very positive indicator if you are asking a question, again, about career studies, like personal development, some sort of advancement. And then with the world and ascension here, it is also very clear that like I was saying, like you are stepping up in some sense. And I feel like with the world card here, it is a very clear confirmation that spirit is sending your way, saying that, oh, you are upping your game. Whatever the question is that you have in mind, this is spirit saying that you will be receiving the desired outcome. You will close out this cycle in a way that is very satisfying, because the world card can talk about some sort of completion, some sort of just ending of a cycle, like a positive ending of a cycle, so that you can be prepared to initiate a new cycle for yourself. And um, again, I feel like this is going to be something very emotionally satisfying for you as well with the Knight of Cups here. And also, Knight of Cups, this particular card does remind me of romance or romantic pursuit, or just in general relationships. It doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic relationship. It could literally be anything. It could be a work relationship, it could be a familial relationship, whatever it is. But I do feel like, especially with this charm right here, it makes me feel like you will be pulling people in, like in a positive sense. You'll be attracting positive relationships, if that's something that you're looking for. And it, again, it doesn't necessarily have to be romantic or physical. It could literally be anything. It could be a friendship, something platonic, or it could literally be a business partnership. Because again, the world card makes me think of connection, like a long distance, a long-term connection that is going to have really profound impact in your life overall. And it also, with these wings here, for some reason, this is reminding me of, I'm hearing wish fulfillment. So if you have made a wish, I feel like your guardian angels or your spirit guides, they might be working behind the scene to try to put everything together, to pull all the strings needed behind the scene to make sure that your dream is coming true. Especially with this ascension, like this keyword also reminds me of spiritual awakening and spiritual ascension. So if that is something that you've been working on, I feel like this is also a very positive sign. Spirit is saying that you are on the correct path. And also, when the Three of Lightning or the Three of Wands came out in reverse, and especially with this journey keyword right here, I feel like this could be spirit saying that you might need to trace backwards on something. So when a card pops up in reverse, I know that sometimes you could potentially feel a little bit concerned, but in this case, I actually don't feel like it's a blockage. I don't necessarily feel like this particular reversal is a blockage, and I feel called to interpret this card in reverse in a sense that you're walking back to something. So it's like, sometimes we say like we say like, oh, we separate so that we can meet again, but like at a better time or as our better selves. I feel like this might be you, like, again, like with this world, it's like coming full circle. Like there's this journey that you have like been on for a very long time, and now you're kind of wrapping things up. It's like everything's coming full circle now. And it has been taking you perhaps a while because the Knight of Cups is one of the slower nights in within tarot, but I also feel like you are definitely walking towards that emotional fulfillment. And also, sometimes I do feel like when the world card pops up, it could be indicative of a physical trip. And especially with this shoe here pointing towards this planet Earth, um, it makes me think of like a literal trip. Maybe you're traveling somewhere, or maybe you'll be relocating somewhere, or there might have been like 180-degree shift of your original plan, but for whatever reason that happened, you're actually going to be very happy with the new thing that came your way. So overall, I think this is quite a strong yes. And now I also want to pull a couple of cards to see why it is a yes, as in like in this particular situation, in this particular question that you have, why is this in your best interest? So we have the Five of Lightning or the Five of Wands coming out with the keyword competition. We have the Ten of Cups in reverse coming out with the keyword fulfillment. And last but not least, let's see, one more, please, Spirit. Let's see what we have here. So why is this answer in the best interest of my dear group number one, please, Spirit? Why? Oops. So that card just flew across the room. Let's see what we've got here. We have the Eight of Clouds or the Eight of Swords in reverse with the keyword self-victimization. All right, this is quite interesting. So I feel like there are a couple of different interpretations that I could think of right now. I think Spirit, um, most importantly, Spirit is saying that this situation, like the answer, the reason why this answer is a yes and why that is in your best interest is because this is this is like a culmination of your efforts. So this might be something that you've been working really hard towards. Because when I see the king, this is also someone who really, really works hard to make sure that everything goes in order in their kingdom because they have that responsibility. And with this Five of Wands and like competition right here, and these like, I think these are boxing gloves, it seems like you have been really fired up to work on whatever this thing is, to work towards the desired outcome. That you've been wanting. And this almost feels like a reward for you. And it also might come as a so I feel like you might have been very concerned about how this thing might have turned out. Because when I saw the 10 of Cups in reverse in conjunction with the 8 of Swords coming out in reverse, um, I'm feeling like a very strong overthinking, over analyzing sort of energy. So this 10 of Cups might be something, again, that you've been working really, really hard towards, but you're also really worried because you care so much about it. It is really difficult for you to detach yourself to see the bigger picture. And the answer that you're getting right now, this is in your best interest because it is actually going to put you in a position where you no longer have to worry about those things, like where you no longer have to struggle with your anxiety. And instead of worrying that this happiness is fleeting, that it's not real, that something bad perhaps would follow. Because I feel like you might be the type of person who's like, oh, yeah, like it's really great that this good thing is happening to me, but what if something bad follows? Like, I'm not going to put too much hope in there. I'm not going to just dream super big because I'm so afraid of being disappointed in the end. What if everything is just an illusion? So you might be someone who worries about that sort of stuff a lot. You might struggle with general anxiety, something like that. And if you do identify with that, I feel like Spirit is saying that this is real. No worries, you can trust this because you have worked so hard for this desired outcome, and you will get your 10 of Cups. And don't worry, it is not going to be something fleeting, because when the 10 of Cups is flipped, it could be indicative of like a very fleeting short-term happiness that is not necessarily gonna be there to stay. But I feel like that's not the case, at least with whatever question that you have in mind. I feel like that's not going to be the case because, again, with the king here, this is somebody who creates legacy, who rules over an entire kingdom, who has their legacy that they could pass on to the next generation and to the generations to come. And also that in conjunction with the world card as a major arcana here. And also the world card is ruled by, I think it corresponds to Saturn energy, and Saturn is the slowest planet. And also it indicates wisdom and like something like some sort of like a challenging energy that has been around for a long time, but it is a necessary process so that you can get the lessons, so that you can learn the lessons, you can get the wisdom that you need for your life experience. And I feel like with that, it's not going to be something that's going to be like a quick and short burst of happiness and then it's gone. I feel like this is going to be something that's much longer term. And I feel like this is also spirit calling out to you that you don't have to put yourself in that self-victimizing energy, that your mind is doing all of these tricks, and it is time for you to ground yourself and to really trust your own judgment. So that's what I'm seeing with your oracle and the tarot portion of your reading. And before I wrap up, I did want to pull maybe a couple more oracles to see if spirit has any additional advice or guidance for you regarding this particular question that you have in mind. So please, spirit, let's see what we have here. We have number 28, someone new is coming. Okay. What else, spirit? What else? Or wait, actually, let me put this over here. What else, please, spirit? Can you get one more? And number 33. Yes, you're correct. All right. So what was I saying? I was saying that spirit was calling out to you that you should trust your own judgment. And literally here we have, yes, you're correct. You have listened to your inner guidance and made a wise choice. Keep moving forward. So whatever it is that you might have been worried about, I'm sorry about the glare. So yeah, hopefully you can see this clearly. But yeah, so whatever it is that you are working towards, keep going. You're definitely on the right path and you're on your way to ascension. And with this number 28, someone new is coming. An important new relationship is on the horizon. Open your mind and heart so that happiness can enter your life. So I think we mentioned relationships or connections early on in your reading as well. Again, with this Knight of Cups, it is a very, very positive indication that whatever relationship or connection you're looking for, it is going to be one that's full of compassion and understanding. And if this is indeed a romantic connection, I think whoever you have in mind, they're going to find you really charming and you're going to find them very attractive as well. So like vice versa. And if you don't necessarily identify with this king energy here, it could literally be talking about a king sort of person coming into your life and really turning your world upside down because of how happy they could make you. So yeah, I think that's everything that I have seen in this reading. Thank you so much for watching and for sharing this divine time with me. Your support means a ton to me. You have no idea. So if you did resonate with this content, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel so that you never miss a reading that I upload in the future. And again, if you do feel comfortable sharing, please do feel free to leave a comment down below in the comment section and let me know how it resonates for you. So yeah, that's all from me to you today. Thank you again. I wish you the best wherever and wherever you are watching this, and I will see you in the next reading. Bye-bye. Hey loves, if you have chosen the shape shifter along with this piece of shell, then this is going to be your reading. Welcome. So the way I'm going to be doing this is that, first of all, I'll be pulling 3 tarot cards to get a general indication of the answer to your question, whether that's a yes or a no. And if it's a strong maybe, then I'll also be pulling clarifications to see why that is the case. So now as I shuffle, please just take a deep breath and keep your question in mind. So now, Spirit, for my dear group number 2, what would be the answer to their question? Oh, wow. We have 3 flipped over. So we have Oracle of Clouds, which corresponds to the Queen of Swords in this deck, along with the keyword perceptive. And Next up, we have the Ace of Lightning with the keyword inspiration coming out in reverse. This is the Ace of Wands. And last but not least, we have the Seven of Gems. In this case, this is the Seven of Pentacles, along with achievement in reverse. Okay, group number 2. I have to be completely honest. This feels like a pretty definitive no to me. And the reason why I'm saying that is, well, when I set the intention for this reading, I wanted to pull 3 tarot cards to start off as an indication for, the definitive yes or no. And when 2 cards out of the 3 came out as reversed, I feel like that's already a pretty strong indication of a no. And also, now, like, if we take a closer look at the cards that you've got here, I think, well, first of all, the fact that you were drawn to the card, the Shape Shifter, it makes me feel that you might be going through a period of drastic changes. So actually, there are 2 ways that I could interpret this particular card in conjunction with the tarot cards that you've got. So the first one is, as I just said, you might be going through a period of time where you're transforming personally, like whether that's like physically or emotionally, in whatever sense it is. This is definitely a turbulent period of time for you. For some reason, I'm feeling called to say that you might be moving. You might be like moving to a new place, or you might be switching jobs, or you could have like just graduated and you're looking for a job and you haven't been able to find something that is the most suitable or the best fit for you, something like that. And I think if that's the case for you with this Queen of Swords here coming up upright, I feel like this is Spirit saying that like, it is what it is, and you know exactly what the situation is, but you might not necessarily be willing to admit to yourself, and you might just need a confirmation from watching this reading to let you know that this is a no. I think with the Queen of Swords, because, well, Queen of Swords is someone who has incredibly high standards, but at the same time, very level-headed. They're very clear as to what they want, and at the same time, they're not afraid to cut away the things that are subpar. So I definitely feel like if you do resonate with this energy, this Queen of Swords might be talking about you yourself. Like, you're definitely a very perceptive person, and I think you are aware of the fact that whatever question that you have in mind, like, it's a no, or that, like, whatever this is, it's not good for you, something like that. And this could also be that, okay, this is going to be very, very specific, so I feel like if it doesn't resonate, just leave it to somebody else. But when the Ace of Wands coming out in reverse, I feel like this could be something of like a failed start, a failed beginning, something that was supposed to blossom and ended up being fizzled out. So it's like a fire that was supposed to start, but it just kind of, like, it just didn't like come to fruition. It just didn't grow as you expected. Like, whatever seed that is that you might have planted before, whether that's career related or relationship related or whatever this is, it's just that there was that spark initially, but that never led to anything more. Or if you're still in the middle of it, this is Spirit saying that it is unfortunately not going to lead to something more. Like it's not going to lead to the achievement that you might have in mind. So I also feel like this could be, I also feel like this might be a situation that have, that you might have been involving yourself in for a little bit too long. You might have invested a little bit too much into this, knowing that it might not amount to anything, but you still kind of held on to that glimmer of hope where you were like, oh, like I think there's still like possibility that this might eventually come through, but like in reality you already know what it is, but you might not have been decisive enough to, you know, like just completely cut yourself out of the situation. Like you might not have been that determined, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I feel like the reason why you're watching this is that Spirit confirming your judgment and saying to you that, hey, like if that's the way that you've been feeling, um, it is true. Like whatever you're feeling, you've been feeling, you should trust yourself, because this is not gonna amount to anything eventually. That brings me back to the second interpretation that I had in mind for the shapeshifter card, because when we think about someone who's a shapeshifter, there could also be like, other than the fact that they could be very adaptive and resilient and flexible, there could also be a certain negative connotation to someone being a shapeshifter. And especially if you do identify yourself as someone who kind of struggles with saying no to people, or sometimes you kind of have that people pleasing sort of tendency. I think this might be Spirit kind of like calling you out a little bit, especially I do feel called to point out that this is number 15, which corresponds to Capricorn energy and the Devil card in tarot. So uh, you might feel tied down to the situation. You might feel obligated to stick to whatever this thing is because you don't want to hurt the other person, the other party, whoever, whatever it is that's involved in the situation at your own expense. Or that you're just not able to say no because you feel obligated to stay on board, when it is actually in your best interest to just, back out and regroup. Because with the Seven of Pentacles in reverse, that makes me think of like just scratch that, like never mind, I'm gonna start off something new again. Like that didn't work out and that's okay. I'm gonna just scratch the whole thing, throw it away out of the window, and with the lessons that I have learned, I can start off something new. And this time it's going to be an ace that's upright. So that's a sort of energy that I'm getting with these cards right here. And now I want to pull a couple of additional tarot cards to figure out why this is the case and why this situation would be for your best interest. Like why this no answer is meant for you. Why is it good for you? So Spirit, could you please elaborate? All right, so we have 6 of raindrops, memories. This is the 6 of cups. I'm hearing grown-ups or growing up. Let's see what else, Spirit. What else do you have for my dear pile number 2? Oops. All right. Oh, look at that. I was literally talking about scratching your old plan and coming up with a new one. And literally now here we have the Two of Lightning, which is the Two of Wands, with planning coming out right here. And then in the middle right here, we have the Eight of Gems in reverse with heart work. This is the Eight of Pentacles. So I think with the Six of Cups and memories, I feel like Spirit is saying that whatever the situation is no longer serving your highest good. It was necessary for you to go through this because you might have very pleasant, like beautiful memories from whatever this is, like especially if this is a relationship that you're asking about, you might have had very positive experience and you might have learned many important things out of this experience, but now it is the time for you to move on, for you to grow up, and whoever this person is or whatever the situation is, it might have shaped you as a person, or it might hold a very important, like, sweet spot in your heart, but that's about it. It's time for you to metamorphosize and just really start off a different journey. And then with this hard work and like Eight of Pentacles in reverse, I feel like this is Spirit telling you that like you might have put in a lot of work into whatever this is. Maybe it's a project, maybe it's a relationship, whatever it is, like Spirit is acknowledging that you have put in a lot of effort and that is valid. And whatever you have put in, like whatever like positivity that you have put out there, they're going to come back to you, but in a different way, maybe in a different situation. So like no hard work is wasted. And that's what Spirit wants to tell you, because in this situation, especially when the answer is a no, maybe there's going to be a certain level of frustration, but Spirit is also saying that like your investment will pay off, but just not necessarily in this situation. It might happen the next time. It might happen in a different opportunity. It's just not this particular one. And then with this planning, or like with this Two of Wands and then the keyword planning, I feel like this is Spirit saying that it is in your best interest. Like this no answer is in your best interest because it would allow you time to regroup and to replenish, to plan for something even better. And especially now that you have had all of these like great experience, you have put in a lot of hard work, and you have this like very intellectual perceptive energy about you. I feel like this is Spirit saying that you are ready to get into that very positive shape shifting energy where you can really wrap yourself in a cocoon and get ready to become a beautiful butterfly. So things are not always going to be this way. This is only temporary. That's what I'm hearing right now. And I am being shown, so if you have seen those tea leaf fortune cards, there is a card with a caterpillar on it, and it says like, I think it says like change is coming, or things are not always going to be this way, like a positive change is coming, something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, like the wording, but that's what I'm being shown. It's literally like you're that caterpillar that's like slowly growing up and transforming into a beautiful butterfly. And again, that process could be very excruciating, especially if you're now going through some sort of like a disappointment right here with something that you thought was going to work out but ended up not, or knowing that it is not likely to work out and that you have to scratch all your old plans and then start planning again. That might be a very frustrating period of time for you, but I also feel like Spirit is reconfirming to you that it's all gonna turn out okay and it is gonna be worth it. You might not see how it's gonna come into place, but it will. And when it does, you will be having that moment of epiphany and be like, oh, so this is where that hard work is being paid off. something along those lines. So that's what I'm seeing with your tarot cards and your oracle. And before I wrap up, I also wanted to pull like some additional cards to see whether spirit has any additional guidance and or messages for you, my dear group number 2. So spirit, what messages and or advice do you have for my dear group number 2? So we have number 8 right here. Sorry about the glare. It says deeper insights are at hand, which is exactly what I was saying, right? Like it's literally reconfirming what we were talking about earlier. And let's see, one more, please, Spirit. Can we get one more for my dear group number 2? Oops. Let's see what we have here. We have number 5. Be honest with yourself. Oh my gosh. Like this is definitely echoing with that Queen of Swords energy. Like whatever this is, you already know. And Spirit is saying that like it is real. Like whatever it is that you think is real, it is your reality. Like don't doubt your own judgment, because you're a very intellectual person, you're very intuitive, and you see things exactly as how they are. So don't doubt yourself. And here it says, all your feelings, even the difficult ones, have a message for you. Accept your truths, then let source take it from there. So I do think Spirit is also saying that even though the situation might not work out exactly how expected, the source, the spirit, the universe, your spirit guides, whatever it is that you want to call it, like they have things under control and they're looking out for you. And with this situation in particular, deeper insights are at hand. Your overall plan is good, but the details need work, reflect before moving forward. I feel like this is kind of like talking about this planning. So perhaps whatever this situation is, it could be that you could still utilize the resources, the investments, the skills, whatever that you have already prepared for this particular opportunity, but for something different. So you can, I'm hearing repurposing or recycling. So it's like, it's not going to go to waste. It's just that you need to plan for a different creative outlet. For some reason, I'm hearing creative outlet. So yeah, I don't know if you might be an artist and you're looking to publish something and maybe your publisher like all of a sudden flaked on you or something like that. And if that is the case, I'm really, really sorry that's happening to you. But I feel like this is Spirit saying that like your content, your work has been great, and there's going to be somebody better coming up in the future who's going to help you out. And now you just kind of have to go back to that planning stage, and deeper insights are at hand also makes me feel like there might be information that's being withheld from you, and you might want to consult with a professional, especially if this is something legal, something like that. And those things might really help you out. Just seek out information that could potentially be helpful for you. So group number 2, that's all I'm seeing with your reading today. Thank you so much for watching and for sharing this divine time with me. I really, really appreciate your support. If you did like this reading, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel so that you'll never miss a reading that I upload in the future. And if you did resonate with the reading and you feel comfortable sharing, I would really, really love to see you comment in the comment section to let me know how things are going for you. That would be really, really sweet. And yeah, so I think that's all from me to you today. Whenever, wherever you're watching this, I wish you all the best. And I will see you in the next reading. Bye-bye. Hey loves, if you have chosen the kiss along with this piece of shell right here, then this is going to be your reading. Welcome. So the way I am going to be doing this is that I will start off pulling 3 tarot cards to get a general indication of the answer to any yes or no question that you might have. And if it's a maybe, then I will also be pulling some additional clarifications to see whether I'll be able to get some more details. So now I'm going to shuffle your cards, and if you want, you can take a deep breath and just keep your question in mind. Now let's ask Spirit. For my dear group number 3, what answer do you have for them? For my dear group number 3, to their yes or no questions, please, Spirit. What do you have for my dear group number 3? All right, we've got the first card coming out, Temperance with Just Breathe. All right, we have the second and the third card both coming out with Ace of Lightning, which in this case is Ace of Wands with Inspiration in reverse, along with the Ten of Clouds, which is the Ten of Swords in this deck, with the keyword endings. So, okay, I think this is a case where I need to pull some clarifiers, because I am getting kind of like a strong maybe energy. So Spirit, would you mind giving us some clarifications on this question here? All right, so we have the 10 of raindrops. In this case, this is the 10 of cups with fulfillment coming up in the upright position, and the apprentice of raindrops, which is the Knight of Cups with charm coming up in the upright. So, okay. This is very interesting, because when I set the intention of doing this reading, I wanted to pull just 3 cards to get a yes or no. And in previous piles, when there are 2 cards out of the 3 that came out in reverse, I would have said that, oh, this is a very strong no. But in your case, group number 3, when these 2 cards popped out together, both in reverse, for some reason, I did feel more called to say a yes, because I was like very much drawn to the first card that popped out was Temperance, and when that card popped out at the very beginning, I was already very tempted to say yes, like instantly. But when these 2 cards came out, subsequently I was like, oh yeah, like, is that a yes or a no? I feel like it's more like a maybe. But then when I asked Spirit for clarification, immediately following we have fulfillment and charm. So I feel like this is a pretty definitive yes. And so to begin with, you were drawn to the Kiss card, and as you can see here, we've got 2 people holding hands. So to be honest, I'm getting a very strong romantic energy. I don't know if that's the question that you had in mind, and whether that's why you felt drawn to this pile. But to be completely honest, with this image of 2 people holding hands, and then also with this image right here on Temperance card, was like 2, I think, like 2 people drinking together, because usually like you see on a Temperance card, it would be like an angelic being pulling water or just like liquid between 2 different cups. So usually it would be one being, but here I feel like this is a pretty pretty like clear image with like two different people, and it's like there's like an energy exchange, and it almost makes me feel like, oh, this is kind of like the Two of Cups energy, where um two people or like two different counterparts, like two halves are coming together to form a whole. So and with this, along with the Kiss card, if your question is about a particular person that you have in mind, about a relationship, a connection, I think this is a pretty positive sign. Or, okay, okay, so there's another way that I would interpret this, like with these two cards popping out in reverse. If this is only going to be applicable to a very specific situation, obviously. So if it doesn't resonate, just let it go. But if you're asking about something new, if you're just like, say, like coming out of a situation, especially in like a romantic sense, I feel like this might be talking about like an old flame being reignited, not necessarily with your ex or the person that you just split up with, but this could be someone that you used to know. Because Temperance is giving me very like old soul, like sort of energy. And I'm also hearing past life relationships. If you do resonate with that, obviously you don't have to. But um, there's like a very like intricate, divinely guided soul connection sort of energy that's being present, that I feel from this reading, which I think might be indicative of your situation. So it could literally be something that didn't work out the first time, but now when it's a second time around, we're finally getting the temperature right. For some reason, I'm hearing temperature. Um, I don't know, like, if you're like somewhere on the northern hemisphere, then it should be like winter-ish season for you. Maybe you just live in somewhere that's like super cold or something. I don't know. Yeah, like I'm just hearing temperature, and I thought that was kind of funny. And then also like wine. I don't know if you're a wine drinker, but yeah, when I see these wine glasses, I'm like, oh yeah, like you might be a wine drinker, or your person might be, if you are asking about a connection. So if that's the case, I feel like then I would interpret these two cards as like something that did not work out initially. Maybe you didn't necessarily have the best, it didn't end on the best terms, I want to say, or maybe it just never went anywhere. Um, it could be something that just like fizzled out. Um, but this time around, again, I think you're doing it right. So yeah, like I think it's a yes. Or it could be like if this is a situation where you're moving from one connection, you're moving on from one connection to a new thing, then it's kind of like it's a no to the old situation and a yes to the new situation. Like there seems to be some sort of like bridging, like a bridging period. That's what I'm hearing. And also like as I was saying that, I just saw the rainbow bridge right here. So yeah, like and I'm also hearing like don't burn the bridges. So if this is like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic relationship. It could be literally any interpersonal relationships. So this could be like a bridge that you thought you burnt before, but now it is being rebridged or rebuilt. I don't know if like rebridged is that even, anyways, but never mind. But yeah, so um and also like we're seeing a lot of hands, like in terms of symbolism. Like we've got like hands over here, hands, and then hands over here. And when I see hands, I think about meeting, like handshakes, when two people are coming together and they greet each other. So if you're asking if you're going to be meeting somebody soon, I feel like this is a yes as well. And with the Knight of Cups, along with the Ten of Cups, both coming out together, I feel like this is going to be something very emotionally satisfying for you. And to be honest, I don't know if you felt drawn to any of the previous piles, but I just want to say that like similar cards are popping out for like repeatedly for these piles, but I think it's interesting how like the energies felt really different. I think like from the first group, and you guys, this is the third group that I am filming right now, but I think all three groups had very different energies, even when there are repeated cards. So that's very interesting as well. But anyways, I feel like yeah, like that's kind of, I think it's a yes. I think it's a yes. Or a no that's turned into a yes, if that makes sense. So now I want to move on to asking for a little bit more details about the situation. So why is this the case, and why is this answer, the situation, in the best interest for you, please, Spirit? So can you elaborate for my dear group number 3? Oops, okay. All right, we have the Judgment with Reckoning coming out in the reverse. What else, Spirit? What else can you tell us? Please, what other information do you have? Why is this in the best interest for, oops. All right, we have Master of Raindrops. In this case, this is the King of Cups with emotional maturity coming out in the upright, and then the Seven of Clouds or the Seven of Swords in reverse with what it says here, scarcity. Oh, scarcity mentality. Okay, coming out in the reverse. Okay, I think this is pretty I feel like these cards are basically like confirming what I was getting earlier with your reading, because when the Judgment card popped out in reverse, like for me personally, when Judgment comes out in reverse, this is talking about something old being revived. So it's something that happened before that didn't necessarily work out, but now it's kind of like a do-over, which is not necessarily a traditional interpretation of the Judgment card, but for me personally, I always associate that with Judgment, especially when it's coming out in the reversal. So this is like a second, like a do-over, like something that's being turned around, or someone coming back, like something that you walked away from and now it's coming back in a better way than before. So and for me, this card has a very positive connotation to it. And then especially now we also have the King of Cups with emotional maturity coming out. I think, okay, well, this might not necessarily be a romantic relationship or even just any relationship that you are asking about, but to be honest, I'm getting very strong relationship-y vibe, so I'm just gonna go with that. But this King of Cups, it could be you or it could be the other party, the other person, whoever it is that's involved in this situation. And when I was saying that, like, it's something that didn't work out initially, and the second time around, things are kind of like, things are being turned around, things are moving towards a better like outcome. And that's because the situation has already shifted, and both you and the other party involved in the situation have shifted as well. So this could be indicative of your energy or their energy, but I feel like I do feel called to say that this is probably you. where the reason why the answer to this question is a yes and why this is in your best interest is because you have aligned yourself with this emotionally mature stage that is serving you in the best way, that is serving your best interests. And that's why it is now time for this do over. And it didn't work out previously because you weren't here yet. This kiss is only happening now, this union, this meeting, or whatever it is only happening now because now it is time, especially for you. You're at a place where you're emotionally mature, where you are physically and mentally and just like where you're ready. So you're ready for this, and that's why this is being turned into a yes. And with this Seven of Swords in reverse, I think this is Spirit talking about how you got yourself out of this scarcity mentality. So when Seven of Swords is being shown to me in the upright, I would think about it as someone who's not necessarily living their authentic self, whose judgment might be clouded by certain selfish desires, or they're doing things based on what they think is the best for them, but that's only their ego talking. Whereas when this card is reversed, and especially in this particular context, I feel like this is Spirit saying that you have already moved out of that energy. And you have moved yourself, like you have aligned yourself with this positive energy, with this mature energy, where you're ready for a second go at whatever this is. So whether this is like an old flame being reignited, like reconnecting with an old friend or family members that you're estranged from, or this could be you moving on from one relationship that you felt dissatisfied with to something new. I think it's a positive start. So whatever didn't work out before, I think Spirit is saying that it is time for that thing to come back into your life and to work out for you this time around. So that's what I'm seeing with this Kiss card along with your tarots. And before I wrap up your reading, I did want to pull out a couple of additional oracle cards to see if Spirit has any additional guidance and or advice for y'all, my dear group number 3. So Spirit, what else do you have for my dear group number 3? Do you have any additional messages, advice? Ooh, wow, okay. So I'm just gonna take the 2 that flipped over. So first off, we have number 27. We have regain your focus. Trivial life matters are distracting you from your goals. Archangel Metatron and I are here to help you stay grounded. And here we have number 2, angels of healing are with you. A time of healing is about to bless your life. Accept Archangel Raphael's emerald green light while I enhance your strength. So in this case, this I would be Archangel Michael, because this oracle deck is the Archangel Michael's Sword of Light oracle. Oh, and we do have a sword here. Oh, and we have a sword here as well. Okay, so I think these 2 cards are kind of reaffirming what I saw earlier in these other cards. So one is that, like, with this regain your focus, I almost feel like it's again, this is like it's like a redoing of something. Like, it's like you were focused on something that didn't work out, and now you're being called to regain your focus, or to like it's almost like you're adjusting your camera length. So something was out of focus, and now you're readjusting your lengths and to really capture that thing that you want on your footage. I don't know if you're a videographer or something. That's a very specific thing to say. I feel like I just felt called to say it. But yeah, so I think again, like it's all about timing. And when this card says trivial life matters are distracting you from your goals, I feel like that might be a past energy. So like now at least I think you're aware of that and you're actively moving out of that energy, and that's why we have the King of Cups right here. And then with number 2, angels of healing are with you right here. Like temperance also can be indicative of healing. And also with the judgment card in reverse here, this could also talk about closing out of a difficult chapter and then regaining the life force for a different trajectory. So I feel like those might be important. Those might be important messages that Spirit has for you at this current moment. But I do feel like you might have already known these things. You just need a little bit of a reminder or a little bit of a confirmation. And that's why you are here today to watch this reading. And I am being called to say that you guys are very, very intuitive. And literally, whatever I just said, I feel like it's already deep within you, and you might just need someone else to verbalize it for you. So yeah, I think that's all I'm seeing for you, my dear group number 3. Thank you so much for watching and for sharing this divine time with me. You have no idea how much your support means to me. So if you did resonate with this reading, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel so that you'll never miss a reading that I upload in the future. And again, if you are comfortable with sharing, then please do feel free to leave a comment down below and let me know how this reading resonated for you. And whenever or wherever you're watching this, I wish you all the best. And I hope to see you again very, very soon in the next reading. Bye-bye. Hey, loves. If you have chosen the Destroyer card along with this piece of shell, then this is going to be your reading. Welcome. So the way I am going to do this is that I will be starting off pulling 3 tarot cards to get an indication of whether the answer to your question is a yes or a no. If there's a strong maybe energy, then I'll be pulling additional clarifiers as well. So, let's start off with your tarot first. Now, my dear group number 4, what would be the answer to my dear group number 4's question? As I shuffle, you could also take a deep breath, turn yourself into this energy, and think about your question. So, Spirit, for my dear group number 4, what would be the answer to their yes or no question? Okay. So we have a Princess of Raindrops. In this case, this is the Knight of Cups in this deck with the keyword of charm. Let's see what else, Spirit, what else? Oops, that just flew across the floor. Let's see. We have the Devil card with restriction coming out in the reverse. And last but not least, let's get one more, Spirit. So what would be the answer to my dear group, number 4's question? So now we've got all 3 cards laid out. The last one is Oracle of Gems. In this case, this is the Queen of Pentacles with the keyword practicality. So I think this is going to be a slow and steady yes. So I'm just going to start off with what I'm seeing here. Well, first off, you chose the card with the Destroyer, and the number right here is 23, which numerically reduces to 5, and that is the number of change. And with the Destroyer, I do feel called to mention that this card reminds me of the Tower card within Tarot. So basically, that is something that is like very unexpected sort of energy where the rug is being pulled out under your feet. And it's very like strong action oriented energy. It also correlates to the planet Mars. So whenever I see a tower, like the tower card, I would think of something that's deeply transformative, but also something painful, especially something that might happen kind of out of the blue. So something that you're not expecting. However, I do feel called to say that for a lot of you who have chosen this pile, with this destroyer energy, it has some similarity to the tower card, but at the same time, I feel like if you think of the tower moment as kind of like a divinely orchestrated or divinely guided moment, then this destroyer energy would be something a little bit more proactive on your part. So it almost feels to me that you are initiating this transformative experience. You are initiating this, like, I mean, it's not like you're ruining something because that sounds very negative, but like, it's like you're tearing something apart, you're stepping away from something, you're walking away from something, um, because you want to. You're destroying whatever this is because you know intrinsically that it is good for you. And I do remember when I first picked up the tarot deck and started shuffling, I think Eight of Cups actually briefly flashed itself to me. And in this specific deck, the keyword on the Eight of Cups was actually the phrase walk away. So I think there's a very strong, like, you wrapping things up, like you moving on from something sort of energy. And I think with these three cards, with Knight of Cups, with this charm right here, um, this card actually popped out for a couple of different piles, but I think every time when it does pop out, I feel the energy is actually quite different. Like for your group specifically, I almost feel like this, I feel called to um mention that this charm thing, it's like you're practicing. I don't know if you're like, if you practice magic or spells or something of that nature, or maybe you're a manifester, but I just feel like you're laying charms. You're doing something proactively in the situation. And Spirit is saying that whatever you're doing right now, you're on the right direction. You kind of, you tear down the things that are not serving you anymore, that are no longer serving your best interest, and actively moving on to the next thing that is actually going to work out much, much better for you. And I think a confirmation for that would be this Devil card coming out in the reverse, where you see that in this card it says restriction right here, but it came out in a reverse. So it's like you're shuttering that chain that's been holding you back, that's been binding you to something that is not healthy. It could be a habit, some sort of like vices that you've been turning to because you've been going through a hard time or something like that. Or maybe it's a like a toxic relationship. or a toxic workplace where you've been taken advantage of, something of that nature. So you might have felt really powerless and really like kind of tied down by the restrictions of that particular situation. But now you are slowly and steadily walking away, moving on to a more healthy, more beneficial situation. And you're doing that in a way that's very, with a lot of self compassion, with a lot of self love, and with a lot of nurturing energy. So, in particular, if with the Oracle of Gems, and in this case, this is the Queen of Pentacles. When I see a Queen of Pentacles, I think of somebody who not only is able to take care of themselves, but also has the capacity to nurture others on top of taking care of themselves. So, Queen of Pentacles, in a way, it gives off a very similar energy as the Empress card within tarot. This is somebody who knows how to enjoy the finer things in life. And this is also someone who's very kind, very compassionate, and very detail oriented. For some reason, I'm really being called to say that. Maybe it's because there's this practicality popping out here. I think if you're asking about a job situation, a finance situation, like for example, you might have had to sustain some sort of losses with an investment. Perhaps you invested in something that you thought was going to work out financially for you, but later on you actually had to withdraw your money from that investment account while having to sustain some sort of losses so that you could recover as much money as possible because perhaps the portfolio wasn't working out for you, or maybe you've been scammed, something like that. But now you have found yourself a better way of utilizing those resources, of maybe like a better investment option to put your money into, or maybe you're just starting your own business and you're using the extra cash that you recovered from your investment options to really launch yourself into the entrepreneurial space. Something like that, where you're taking the responsibilities and also in a very wholesome way. So it's like whatever this devil situation might have been, I don't see you beating yourself up for having for having put yourself in that situation, or having been tied down to a certain situation. But you're feeling you're like being very emotionally in tune with your higher self. And you're also finding practical solutions to your problems instead of feeling kind of bad for having been in that situation, feeling that things were unfair, which I think they might be, but you're also not necessarily spending a lot of energy or unnecessary like you're not having a lot of unnecessary anxious thoughts about the situation anymore. You're seeing things as they are, and you're moving along, and you're basically destroying the old and already on your way, on the right path to creating the new. So that is what I'm seeing. So I would say overall, this is like a slow and steady yes. The reason why I mentioned slow is that the water energy right here was the Knight of Cups, and the earth energy here was the Queen of Pentacles. These are the two like relatively slower suits within tarot. So I would say like this might be like the momentum is definitely building, but it might not come to fruition immediately. So that's what I am getting from these cards. And now I'm going to pull some additional tarot cards to get a sense of why this is the case and why this answer is in your best interest. So Spirit, could you please help clarify why this is the case for my dear group number 4 and why this answer, oops, okay, let's take this one, is in their best interest. And one more, please, Spirit. Why is this the case and why is this answer in group number 4's best interest? Okay. I think we've got 2 cards popping out together, so I'm just gonna take both of them. All right, so let's see what we've got here. We've got the 5 of Cups in reverse, and here it literally says loss. So I don't know if you might have resonated with the investment example that I came up with. So I feel like this is literally Spirit saying that you are on your way recovering from some sort of losses that have unfortunately happened before, but you are doing a great job in terms of surrendering to the process, not rushing things. And again, like slow and steady wins the race. You haven't been in a huge rush and you haven't been micromanaging the whole process, and that allows the universe and your spirit guides to work behind the scene to help you. Like, I'm hearing they're aligning the stars for you. So if this thing doesn't happen like immediately, I think it will definitely happen in the future. And here I see that within the Hanged One, and as I was saying, surrender to the process, right? So with the Hanged One, I do feel like this is also Spirit saying that it is a yes, but it's gonna be like the positive outcome will come to you, but you need to wait. So it's gonna take a hot minute and you just have to be patient. And I know that sometimes like personally when I hear something like that, I would be very, very frustrated because I always want to know exactly when things are gonna work out. And I feel like that is something that us human beings just like to do most of the time. But this is also Spirit calling out to you that in order for you to release yourself from whatever this situation is, you have to surrender first. Like, you have to switch off your mind a little bit in order for you to move forward. And I think also with the Hanged One, this is Pisces energy. And Pisces, that also corresponds to the 12th house, which is literally symbolizing the end of a cycle. So again, I do feel like whatever this difficult cycle is, like you are collaborating with the universe to destroy this old energy, to let go of this old energy that no longer serves your highest good. But it takes time. So it's kind of like maybe, so for example, if you have a storage room that has been fully packed with old stuff and now you're trying to get rid of things that you no longer need. If the storage room has been, like there with stuff that's been accumulated over the past couple of years, it is very unlikely for you to finish like organizing everything, like throwing out things within, say, like 2-3 days or a week even. It might take you a month or even longer than that. You just kind of have to chip away at the whole task bit by bit. And I know that sounds really frustrating, but I also feel like you are kind of shifting into that more patient energy, because when I'm channeling through this energy, I'm not in a rush. Like, I'm not feeling rushed when I'm reading all of these cards. And even when I'm speaking, I feel like I'm almost speaking at a slower pace for some reason. And with the 6 of Cups in reverse, here it says memories, and that came out with the 10 of Wands and burden in reverse. I feel like, okay, so just going back to what I was saying with the storage room example, right? I feel like the situation, the old situation, whatever it was, it might have been something that has been that was very significant for you. Like you probably put a lot of energy into it. You have probably gained a lot of positive memories from it. And I'm hearing nostalgia. But with the Six of Cups and the Ten of Wands coming out together and both in reverse, I feel like Spirit is saying that this answer is in your best interest because it means that you're moving on to a new thing. And I feel like that's kind of like a collective energy as well, because I've definitely seen similar messages coming out for the previous groups. But specifically here, I feel like this is really Spirit emphasizing the point that whatever it is that you have accumulated over the course of the past months, years, however long like it was, like it's just it's time for you to let go. And I think you are already letting go, and you're doing that in a very emotionally balanced way. You're not in a rush, and you're also doing it in a very like practical way with this Queen of Pentacles. You're also open to receiving the blessings coming towards you from the universe, embracing that more like earthy and feminine energy of yourself. So that's what I'm seeing with your oracle as well as your tarot cards right here. Before I wrap up, I did want to pull some additional guidance and message cards from Spirit to see if there's anything else you should be aware of. So, Spirit, for my dear group number 4, what information do you have for my dear group number 4? Okay, so we've got 2 right here. We have number 27. Regain your focus. Trivial life matters are distracting you from your goals. Archangel Metatron and I are here to help you stay grounded. And again, here, the I means Archangel. This is referring to Archangel Michael, because this oracle deck is the Archangel Michael Sword of Light oracle. So that's where that's coming from. And here we have number 25, put your creative energy into action. Archangel Gabriel joins me to spark your creativity, help you communicate your vision, and motivate you to create something beautiful. Awesome. So, yeah, like for I think, okay, so first of all, this regain your focus. If you did feel called to another group, I just have to say that this card, it's also the second time that this card has been popping out in the readings. But with this particular energy, I feel like this is Spirit calling out to you to ask you to like focus on the more practical aspect of whatever solution it is that you're coming up with for this particular situation. So if it is something that you've been working on, I think this is Spirit telling you that it is working, but you also like there's that final push. Like you have to kind of make another push. It's not quite there yet. If you let the trivial matters distract you from your goal, then it might not end up like the situation might not end up in the best, like in the most ideal way that benefits you. So in order for you to bring yourself more in alignment with whatever that is best for you, I think Spirit is saying that you do still have to focus on solving this issue at hand. And here it says, put your creative energy into action. I think, again, like with your reading, I'm really feeling a lot of like active, like initiating sort of energy. So instead of, I would say, like, again, I'm hearing co-creating with the universe. So I do think that you're being called by Spirit to take on more of an active role in whatever it is that you're trying to manifest. And I think you're already doing that with this Knight energy, with this Queen energy, and also this Destroyer. I think you are embodying this energy of cutting away things that are no longer serving you, and that is fantastic. Definitely keep up with it. And at the same time, as you destroy the old, I think Spirit is also saying that you destroy the old so that there is room and space for the new. So that's why if you've been thinking of creating something on top of the ruins of the rambles, whatever like you want to call it, you should do that, because that's going to lead you to somewhere really, really beautiful and bright. And eventually, like, you are currently moving towards success. You just have to give it a little bit more time, and continuous efforts are also needed. So that's all I'm seeing with your cards right here. Thank you so much for watching and for sharing this divine time with me, my dear group number 4. It is an absolute honor having been able to do this reading for you. I really love this energy. So if you did resonate with this reading, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so that you'll never miss a reading that I upload in the future. And also, if you do feel comfortable sharing your experience, please do feel free to leave a comment down below to let me know how this reading resonated, and hopefully it brought you some helpful information. So that's all from me to you today. Whenever or wherever you're watching this, I wish you all the best. And hopefully I will see you soon in the next reading. Bye-bye. Hey loves, if you have chosen the Shaman card along with this piece of shell, then this is going to be your reading. Welcome. So the way I'm gonna do this is that I will be shuffling and pull out 3 tarot cards for you as a general indication to yes or to whether it's a yes or a no in terms of answering your question. And if there is a very strong maybe energy, then I will be pulling additional cards for clarification as well. So please do keep your question in mind, my dear group number 5. And now let's get started. So Spirit, please allow me to turn myself into my group number 5's energy and see what would be the answer to their yes or no question. Please, Spirit. What would be the answer to their yes or no question, please, Spirit? What would be, let's see. The first one that came out is the Knight of Raindrops, and in this case, Knight of Cups. That came out in the reverse. We have Justice card. That came out in the reverse. And last but not least, we have the High Priestess. That came out in the upright. So okay, so group number 5, I think that this is a no, unfortunately, but there might be a way for you to change the outcome. But for now, I think Spirit is indicating a no to whatever question it is that you're asking. So let's take a look at what we've got here first. So with this Shaman card, I think it is already like the fact that you were attracted to this card is already indicative of how intuitive you are as a person. I don't know if you also read tarot, or maybe you read star charts, or you're just like interested in all things metaphysical, or at least curious. I think that you are very eager to learn about all of the things that you do not know. It seems to me that you're a very curious person and you're very driven to understand the things that you do not understand just yet. And with this shaman card, because as a shaman, that's somebody who works as sort of like a medium between the divine and the human, the 3D reality. So I do think that you might have a very open crown chakra or a very strong active third eye. If you do resonate with those terms. And I think that is also being like that energy is also being amplified by the High Priestess card that came out towards the end, along with this keyword of intuition. So, whenever the High Priestess shows herself in a reading, I think of it as a strong indication of divine intervention, but not in a sense of it's like not in a sense of divine intervention as to like the universe is working on something that's going to happen to you very, very soon. It's more like divine intervention to add a sense of like add a layer of mystery or complexity to the situation because you're not meant to know just yet. Like you're like things are not meant to work out for you just yet. Like you are being called to stay in a more silent or stoic energy, and I'm also hearing inertia. So and inertia doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing because without inertia, if you studied physics in school, then you would know that inertia is actually very, very important. Like without inertia, everything would be like literally moving all the time. Like we wouldn't be able to stay still with a gravity pull. So I feel like I really feel called to say that spirit is saying if you're asking whether you should take action on something, I feel like spirit is saying that it is not time yet. Like it's a no, not because what you think is wrong. It's more of a timing sort of thing. And also, there might be, I do think there might be some sort of information that's being withheld from you. So you might not be seeing the full picture because the shaman card sometimes reminds me of like a student learning from a mentor. And I think you might be in more of like a page mode versus a king mode. So right now you might still be learning something. Whether you identify with that or not, I think spirit is saying that you're still in the process of gaining some sort of wisdom, some sort of deeper insights, and therefore it is not time for you to put that thing into action just yet. And if you were to go with whatever you're planning to do right now, like this instant, it probably wouldn't end up bringing you the emotional satisfaction or the justice, the balance that you want, that you thought the solution, that the action would bring you. So it's not going to work out the way you desire, at least right now. With this Knight of Cups coming out in reverse, as well as the Justice card coming out in reverse, and especially if this is because sometimes the Justice card can be indicative of a legal action, a legal situation. If this is indeed your situation, I would highly suggest that you consult somebody who is more knowledgeable, who is more experienced in a professional sense. And when I was talking about that, all of a sudden I was associating the shaman card with the high priestess because I think of the high priestess as a more spiritually established being, whereas the shaman could be a person who's still in the learning process, who's still honing in on their intuition so that they can be a successful so that they could practice mediumship or like their craft. So like it almost feels that like I almost feel like this shaman is supposed to be learning from the high priestess to really embody that high priestess energy where the shaman is no longer chasing and instead is being still and really going within to figure out what exactly the situation is from a more peaceful and less distracted perspective. So I would say overall, I think the answer to your question would be a no, especially if you're asking about, say, like whether you should be reaching out to a person, whether you should be responding to like an inquiry or putting in some sort of application or signing a document, something like that. I do feel called to say that if you're considering signing something, perhaps just like it's not like, oh, like don't sign it. It's more like hold off on it so that you have enough time to contemplate on all of your options. And preferably, if you do have access to professional services or at least like maybe a close friend who is trustworthy, like get a second opinion, get a third opinion, get a fourth opinion, like just get as much information as possible, and that's really going to help you out in this particular situation. So don't rush into anything. I feel like that's what Spirit is saying. And I'm going to be pulling a couple of additional tarot cards to clarify the reasons as to why the answer to your question is a no and why this answer is in your best interest. So Spirit, could you please elaborate? Oops. So we have the Empress with receive coming out. Interesting. Okay, we have the Three of Gems. In this case, this is the Three of Pentacles with collaboration coming out. And let's see, one more, please, Spirit. What else do you have? Oops. Let's see. And we have the Ten of Gems, so the Ten of Pentacles with legacy coming out. Interesting. I'm also hearing inheritance. So I don't know if this legacy is referring to like some sort of inheritance, like family, heirloom, something like that. But overall, I feel like, oh, also we have two threes here. I do feel called to say to mention that if you've been seeing like 33, like 333, like we're repeating numbers. Oh, also we got 11 here, which also reduces it to 2, and we've got the High Priestess, which is, you know, the number 2 here. Oh, and we've got another 1, so like maybe like 111. Oh, I was literally seeing 1123, so like 123. Wait, okay. So it's like, you know how like sometimes if you're say like doing like, I don't know if you're interested in like extreme sports or something like that, like when people say 1 2 3 jump, it's like there's that like you count up to 3 and then like you do something. So it almost feels to me that like you're literally on the precipice of doing something, and Spirit is asking you to take your time with those 1 2 3s, like with the initial steps before you take that leap. So with the Empress here, I think the reason why Spirit is saying that you should, like the answer to your question is a no, is because when you hold off, like you're actually going to receive an unexpected gift from the universe. So instead of diving right into something, like if you're going to embody that more feminine receptive energy, it's actually going to work out better for you. And with the Empress, I also think of pregnancy. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like an actual literal pregnancy. It could be like the gestation period where you're nurturing something, you're giving birth to something, but it's during that period of time where you're still preparing. And you're preparing, you're planning, you're spending this time early on so that you know this idea or this child, this whatever it is that you're giving birth to, it will flourish later on. So it is important for you to put in that energy early on instead of rushing into things. And with and in your reading we have both the high priestess and the empress, so these are essentially the two most important feminine archetypes within tarot, and both of them are actually indicative of that receptive energy of a female being who is very, very confident about like where they are in life. They do not chase, they wait for things to come to them. So I do think this is what spirit's been like calling you to do, and that is to embody more of that feminine energy. Instead of actively chasing, you're being called to stay still, and that's going to work out better for you in the long run. And then with this three of gems or three of pentacles in collaboration, if you're inquiring about a, say, like a job situation or like a school situation, or perhaps like some sort of like relationship, a connection, a business partnership, etc., etc., um, I think another reason why Spirit has been asking you to hold off is that the situation currently is out of balance. With the Justice reverse and then like this Three of Pentacles card right underneath that, I feel like Spirit is saying that like you don't have to put all the burden on your own shoulders. Like if there are other parties involved in the situation, feel free to delegate tasks to other people. Like trust your teammates, trust your team that they've got your back. Of course, like that's only if the the situation is applicable. If you feel like, oh, like my teammates actually can be trusted, then I'm not saying that just like trust, like like hold on to those untrustworthy people. But what I'm saying is that like um perhaps getting a second, getting a third, getting a fourth opinion from people that you find trustworthy, getting some professional help would be very, very helpful for you in this particular situation. So like you're definitely being called to not be a lone wolf in this situation, and just don't be ashamed of asking for help if you feel like you need it. And with this legacy right here, I like Ten of Pentacles, that's something that's a card that always reminds me of um like family business or family reunions, and something that's like very long lasting, like something that runs through generation, that has a very long lasting impact on the people coming after. Like that's I think it's almost like this sense of, I'm seeing a big house for some reason all of a sudden. I don't know if that's relevant. And then with this imagery right here, like, sorry, my thoughts are getting a little bit scattered, but when it came to this card, like all of a sudden I'm seeing like a big house with a fireplace and a Christmas tree, which I guess like we're currently in February, so we're not that far off from Christmas. Like it just happened like 2 months ago. So I don't know, maybe something happened during the holiday season. But I do feel like this card is giving me very, very strong family vibe. So if you're asking something about like a family situation, I do think Spirit is saying that eventually things are gonna work out for you. But again, like Pentacles, that's the slowest energy within tarot. So if you're expecting a fast, like a quick fix, that's not what this is. It's not gonna happen like that. Like actually you've got like a lot of earthy energy. Like with the Empress, that's Taurus, with the Three of Pentacles and then the Ten of Pentacles, like you've literally got all earthy energy right here as to like as spirits answers as to why you gotta know and why this is gonna be in your best interest. And I feel like spirit has been very, very consistent with the message that you should wait. It's like good things come to those who wait. The legacy or the inheritance, if that's what it is that you're looking to pursue, I think it takes time. Because when you're when you're creating a legacy, it doesn't happen within like 2 days, right? It takes ages. Like it almost makes me think of the example of you planting a tree. And I'm not saying that, oh, this is gonna take like 10 years, because when you do plant a tree and you want that tree to grow from a small tree to a big tree, it takes literally 10, 20, 30 years. And I'm not saying that, oh, this is not going to get resolved until after like 20, 30 years. But I do think Spirit is saying that to achieve the best outcome, you have to go with a slower pace, however much frustration that might bring you. That's just what it is, and you're meant to learn from the process as well. So that's what I'm seeing with your oracle card and your tarot here. So before I wrap up, I did want to pull out a couple of more cards to see whether Spirit has any additional messages and advice or guidance for you, my dear group number 5. So let's see. So we've got number 30, step into the spotlight. You have a message that the world needs to hear. It's time to share your wisdom. Interesting. Okay. So let's see. What else, Spirit? What else do you have for my dear pile number 5? My group number 5. Is there anything else you would like? Oops. Let's see, and we have number 31, take control of your thoughts. Your thoughts are creating your reality. Have faith and stay focused on the outcome that you truly desire. Yeah. Okay, so with number 30, this step into the spotlight, again, like going back to what I was saying about the shaman and the high priestess, I don't know if you practice any like if you do readings for other people, or perhaps you practice some sort of craft that is meant to help others. But I do feel like if you have certain information that you think is helpful for other people, then this is Spirit calling for you to share that with others, especially if you have had a certain situation that's been difficult for you and you feel like you're ready to help others avoid the same pet peeves or avoid the same traps. I think Spirit is saying that the wisdom that you accumulated, the messages, information you receive from this process, you are meant to pass these things on. And wow, literally, I was looking at this legacy keyword right here, and I was thinking, oh yeah, like that perhaps could be if this is not like you getting into an inheritance lawsuit or something like that. This could literally mean that you are actively creating a legacy with what you're doing. And slow and steady wins the race. Again, I think like throughout this process, while you are learning yourself, I think you're also being called to share your learning experience with other people to help those who might be in similar situations. So that's what I'm seeing here. And again, we have, see, like 30, we have another 3, and 31, we have another 3 and another 1. So 1, 1, and then 11 right here, we have like 3, 3, and then these 2 3s here. So I don't know, maybe you've been seeing a lot of 1s, a lot of 3s recently, and that might be a confirmation for you. That might be your angel sending messages to you with signs. And with this, take control of your thoughts. So I was kind of talking about how like you might get very, very frustrated because you might want to take that leap of faith immediately, but spirit is saying that, oh, you should wait for a better time. So, if that is indeed the case, if you are feeling quite anxious, I think this is spirit reaffirming to you that things are going to work out, but you have to wait for the divine timing. You have to wait for all the stars to be aligned. And spirit is aware that it is frustrating, like, but that's also part of our human experience, is to not know when things are going to happen and be caught by surprise. That's like part of the lessons we're here to learn, right? So I think this is also spirit saying to you that if you're having a lot of like negative thoughts, a lot of intrusive thoughts, maybe you should be paying a little bit more attention to trying to like shift your perspective to really maybe like do some meditation or some positive affirmation to make sure that you are raising your vibration with those positive thoughts and positive energy. And those are actually going to help move things along. Those are actually going to help accelerate the process and make sure that whatever this difficult cycle is could be wrapped up as soon as possible. All right, so that's what I'm seeing with all of your cards here, my dear group number 5. Thank you so, so, so much for watching and for sharing this divine time with me. If you did resonate with this reading, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel so that you'll never miss a reading that I upload in the future. And if you do feel comfortable sharing with me your experience, please do feel free to leave a comment down below to let me know how this reading resonated. Whenever or wherever you're watching this, I wish you all the best, and hopefully I will see you soon in the next reading. Bye-bye!